Lord. Thank you. Thank you for this video, God. Thank you for what you are doing, what you are saying, Lord. I pray that it be all of you and none of me, God. As I make this video, Lord, I pray that you are glorified, God, that you give me the words to say as I open my mouth. And yeah, in Jesus' name, amen. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Chelsea if you are new, and if you're not new, then welcome back. As you guys can see, we are in a completely different setup, and I haven't decided what I'm gonna title this video just yet, but I think I do. But yeah, so it's been a long time coming update video, and I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I am in awe of God's goodness, and I'm mind blown, to be honest with y'all. Like, so first of all, let me just say, okay, I'm in my new place, okay? The Lord blessed me with tremendously with this place, and we're gonna get into that in this video. But I'm also celebrating my 2-month anniversary of God relocating me to Minnesota. Today is Friday, May 19th. It is currently 7:50 a.m. And yeah, like, God is just so good. Okay, so I have another video which I'll probably upload it before this one, so you guys can see like what has been transpiring and what happened, you know, what's been happening and all that stuff. But in the end of April, you guys, if you watch my testimony video of me being, you know, of God making me a rainbow baby, I shared that testimony on my YouTube channel. I'll leave it linked up here so you guys can go back and watch it if you want. It's truly powerful. And in that testimony video, I was sharing how I was at Millions Conference in Houston, Texas this year. This is where I got the hoodie. Y'all have seen me in this hoodie so many times. It's honestly my favorite hoodie. Like, it's so comfortable. And you know, I am just having one suitcase right now. Okay, my stuff is still in LA. We're getting it shipped soon, so I'm excited for that. But while I was at Millions, when I came back from Millions, y'all know I've been doing the Airbnb hotel living. I was actually staying with a family out here in Minnesota that I got connected with by way of this church that I attend, Everyday Church, which is an amazing church. I'll leave their information linked in the description box so you guys can check them out. And so the community there have truly been amazing. So many people that I've had the chance and opportunity to meet. And so yeah, so many people were like opening up their home to me and Molly. So that has been amazing. And when I came back from Millions, I went back to like doing hotels. And it was just like frustrating because I was like, God, like, you know, I'm ready to be settled. You know, you've called Minnesota to be my resting place. That was the word that the Lord had given me about me being here in Minnesota. And I was just like, God, like, I don't feel like I'm able to be at rest, like having to check in and check out and, you know, all of these things. And I also had my doula certification during that week as well when I came back. So it was like the first week of May, which I got my doula certification. Woohoo. And so yeah, so when I finished getting my doula certification, which if you don't know what a doula is, it's a woman or a person who assists a woman giving birth. So we don't necessarily deliver the babies, but we are there to help the mom deliver the baby, right? And so yeah, got my certification, and then right after that I ended up getting a one-way flight to my mom in Georgia, and it was very frustrating for me just because, like, God has specifically told me don't go to Georgia until I'm married. And that was like, you know, God had given me that like a couple years ago, you know, so I hadn't been to Georgia, and I was just like, God, like, I'm just really tired. Like, I just need a break, you know. It was a lot of mental and emotional like strain on me during this season, during this time of just, you know, like the back and forth of moving. And to be honest with y'all, I hadn't really expressed to God how I was feeling about everything. It was like, okay, God, you're asking me to do this, I'm gonna be obedient, blah blah blah, whatever. But I was not expressing to God how I was feeling in the midst of me being obedient, which is so important, right? And so because of that, I ended up, going to Georgia and like, yeah, so I was in Georgia for about a week, and I didn't tell nobody that I was in Georgia except for like my close friends, just because like I wasn't there to be seen. I wasn't there for anybody. Like I just needed a break, and I really just wanted to spend time with God and figure out like, okay, God, like what's going on? What are you saying? All of these things, like all of that. So I spent a week there, and it actually turned out to be one of the best. I call it my whale experience because I definitely was Jonah in that moment. You know what I'm saying? God told me to do something, and I went opposite of what God said. And so obviously like that felt like me being Jonah in the whale. If you have not read that story, it's in Jonah, the book of Jonah, in the Bible. And so that was like the best whale experience that I had, because like, obviously I didn't have to worry about where I was going to stay, washing clothes, eating, grocery, like didn't have to worry about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I could literally just be, but also like having that peace of mind to spend time with God and things like that, which I wasn't sure if I would get being in Georgia. But God in his faithfulness and in his mercy allowed me that opportunity. And I got to see, some people in my family and spend time with them and pray with them and minister to them. And so that was really good. And then during that time, the Lord was like, I need you back in Minnesota. Like I'm gonna let you have this moment, but I'm giving you 5 days to be back in Minnesota. And so that was like on like May 10th or whatever. And so, yeah. So I was like, during those 5 days, I was just continuing to pray, spend time with the Lord, even fasting, and just seeking God's face. Like, okay, Lord, like, what are you saying for me back in Minnesota? Like, what do you want me to do? Really just praying for God to open up the door for me to have a place to stay. I'm like, God, like, if I have stability in where I'm staying at, like, I can focus on spending more time with you and, hearing from you. And I don't have to think about, okay, well, I got to check out of this place and check into this place and, all those things. Like I can be more settled. So that was really my prayer to God during those 5 days. And just like God, how he does, he reminded me of a young woman. Her name is Megan. And she had reached out to me probably like sometime around in April, about like, a place to stay. Cause I had reached out to my everyday community and was just like, hey, does anyone know of a sublease? Because these details that I'm about to share with y'all are super important, right? So when God was moving me to Minnesota, he specifically told me, don't ask for a job, don't take a job, and don't get a full lease. Okay. So he didn't want me to get a full lease, like a 12-month lease, because he's like, you're not going to need it for that long. And I don't want you to be like in something that, you know what I'm saying? Like you would have to pay to get out of and things like that. Right. And I was just like, okay, God. And going to a new place that you don't know really nobody. Right. And the one person that you do know there, like you have not talked to them in like several months. So you can't even bank on that. Right. And it's just like, okay, Lord, like, what do you, how are you going to do all this, right? So I began to reach out to my everyday community, asking them if they knew of anybody that was subleasing or anything like that. And there was a place that I had heard about, that I learned, that I went to go see and, meet the couple that was subleasing and things like that. But they were like not responding, kind of giving me the runaround. Like it was just not working out, right? And I was just like, okay, God, like, I believe that this is the place that you have for me, but, I'm just trusting you, like whatever you want me to do, right? So he had me reach out again to see if anyone else had like, something. And so I did. And then Megan reached out to me and was just like, hey, like how long do you need it for and all that stuff. So we're kind of like text or messaging back and forth, but it wasn't like consistent, right? But at this time, during these 5 days, right, May 10th through the 15th, God has me reach back out to her, and like update her, and get an update or follow up with her rather on, the place and everything like that. So doing that, and literally she responds back to me and it's just like, hey, well, we do have a place available. It's a nice size house. You'll share a kitchen. You have 2 living rooms, a kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, like your own bedroom, your own bathroom, all that good stuff, whatever. She's like, here's the lady that owns the house. You just reach out to her and, get to know her and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, perfect. So one of those days I reach out to the woman, Miss Nancy, and she, me and her have a FaceTime conversation. She's an older woman. She's in her 80s. And so she's super sweet, super nice. And so, I'm just sharing her with basically what I've been sharing with everybody is like how the Lord sent me to Minnesota and all of these things and like needing a place to stay and, how long I would need it for and all that stuff. And so she tells me like, she's like, well, I've dedicated my house to the Lord. So anyone that the Lord sends, like I know anyone that comes here, like I know that the Lord has sent them. Right. And that to me was like, that's it. That's all I needed to know. You know what I'm saying? And so she tells me more about the home and just like everything. She's like, oh yeah, it's only like $600 a month. Huh? Right. And so, yeah, and I was just like, wow, like, so we get off the phone and I'm just like mind blown, right? Because this conversation, like, I didn't expect it, this opportunity, I didn't expect it. Y'all know what I've been praying, right? And it was just like, wow, God, like, God literally answered the prayer that I prayed back in January. I don't know if I mentioned it in any of these videos that I've been sharing with y'all, but back in January, the Lord told me it was time to leave LA. And when he told me that, at the time I was working for this major movie studio in LA, or in Burbank area. And it's not downtown LA where I was, but it was like, not far. So I'm thinking he wants me to move closer to work. And he wasn't telling me where he wanted me to move to, but he was just saying like, it's time to leave LA. And so I was like, okay, Lord, well, let me give you my list of what I'm looking for in my next place. And I'll take a screenshot of what I put and, put it up there, put it in the video. But like, I basically was like, I want a quiet neighborhood, secure, peaceful, pet friendly, little to no rent. So like $1,000 or less so I can save money. Because if y'all know LA, okay, it's expensive. All right. And, all of these different things I was telling God that I wanted. And when he told me Minnesota, I was like, okay, God. And I was not thinking about the list that I made in January, but God was, right? Because now that I'm in this place, which we are here now, so we got the blinds or whatever, but now that I'm in this place, like God reminded me of the list that I made in January. And when I tell y'all it matches the very thing that I told God I wanted, like only God could have done that. Right? Like only God could have provided this opportunity. Only God could have opened this door. Only God, right? And I was just like, wow, God. And so got the place. And then I was like, okay, Lord, well, how am I going to get back to Minnesota? Okay. Because you told me don't take a job, don't get a job. So my funds are very limited right now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's limited. And I'm just like, okay, Lord, like you're going to open up the door. Like you would not bring me this far. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't tell me that I only have 5 days left here in Georgia and I need to be back in Minnesota if you weren't going to provide, right? So literally, he provides by way of my family, right? Like people that I have not talked to in a while, right? To provide me with the resources to get a one-way ticket back to Minnesota, right? And all of this is happening within these 5 days. And I'm just like, wow, God, like, so came back on May 17th. What happens? Miss Nancy picks me up from the airport. And when she picks me up from the airport, she's sharing with me like, how like what was happening on her end as it was happening on my end. So I shared with her like how God was moving me and how he opened the door for me to have this place and everything like that. And she was saying like on her end what the Lord was doing. And it was so interesting because like how like I was moving around and about and all that stuff and just like looking for God to open up the door for me to have a place to stay and all that stuff and getting settled and going to Georgia and all that stuff. She was like on her end, like someone was living in this space, right? And they were getting ready to move out. And so they were, obviously that takes time for them to move out, get their stuff out. But then on top of that, they had to clean the place. And then they had to, other people were reaching out about a place to stay. But it just wasn't working. Like the door just, they didn't come or, they decided something differently, whatever. And so she was like, Lord, well, this house is dedicated to you. So whoever you send, like I know that you sent them, right? And right after, she had that prayer, that time with the Lord, like that's when Megan, my roommate, reached out and was like, hey, like I know someone that needs a place. And she knew like, okay, well, this is the person that the Lord wants here. And it just worked out, So I just thought it was so interesting how simultaneously God is working in my situation, right? Just as he's working in Miss Nancy's situation, right? And that was so encouraging because for a lot of us, we're like, okay, God, like, what are you doing in this area of my life? How is this working? Whatever. Like, what are you going to do? And he's simultaneously working in someone else's situation to culminate and bring everything together, right? Hey y'all, what's up? Um, Editing Chelsea here. I've never used this before, but I wanted to share that I also learned that during this testimony part that this was all happening in March. Like, so this person moving out of the place that I was coming into, they moved out in March, which is the same month that God sent me to Minnesota. And I just thought that it was so wild that literally I had no idea what God was doing simultaneously as He was sending me to a place. He was also preparing a place for me. And so I just wanted to kind of insert that part of the testimony into the video. So let's continue watching. Peace. Right? And we wouldn't know that. Right? We don't know, but it's so God how He can be working in one person's story and another person's story at the same time. Right? And so yeah, like that was amazing. So all that to say, we are here in my new place, and so all that to say, we are in my new place, and it is absolutely amazing. I love it. My friend Tasha hooked me up with that I think it's a king size air mattress. My mama had some extra sheets, so I took that, and then they had some blankets here. But yeah, this is my room. I have a bathroom over there, right there. My closet is over here. Beautiful window with, like, the sun, where the sun comes up, like natural light. Y'all know I love me some natural light. Sorry, some in my eye. The kitchen, the living room, deck, patio, backyard space. Plenty of space for Molly. Yeah, plenty of space for Molly, which Molly is not here with me right now. The Lord told me to let her stay with my family for a month. So she's on vacation right now. But I will have her next month. So y'all will see her in June. And yeah, and we live right across from a lake, okay? And it's a park. Like, y'all, like, I'm just like, and the yard is beautiful. We can sit out and like paint and all that. Like, it's perfect. Okay? It is absolutely perfect, right? God did the impossible. Y'all know where I came from, okay? Literally God moving me, relocating me within a week, okay, to a new place. Didn't know nobody, right? Didn't know anybody, didn't know where I was going to stay, didn't know nothing, to now 2 months later, right? And God has done exceedingly and abundantly above all that I could ask, think, or imagine, right? And I'm so thankful to God that even though I took a break, right, and I needed a pause, I didn't give up, right? I didn't quit on the process. I didn't, run, right? Well, I kind of did, but you know what I'm saying? Like, even in that though, like, God was still faithful. Because while I was in my well experience, the Lord opened the door for me to have a place to stay, right? Like, He answered my prayer. And God was showing me, He's like, because I was under the impression, like, dang, okay, well, I'm in this well experience, so clearly God's going to make everything, like, make all hell break loose in my life and all these things. And God is like, that's not me. Like, I'm not that, right? And for some of us, that's how we think God is. Like, oh, well, if I'm not perfect in this, or if I don't do everything right, God's just going to rain down fire and brimstone on us. Like, no. Okay, His grace is sufficient. That's not an excuse, right? But it's there for us every single day because we'll need it, right? God is very much aware of our feelings, of our emotions, of our mental state, of our emotional state, of our spiritual state, right? He understands all of that. And so, yeah, so that's it. I just wanted to share that testimony with y'all, and like, really just, I've been taking time to just really take it all in and to bask in all that God has done in this second month, because like, it has been absolutely amazing, and only God could have done this, and even when people didn't understand, right, like, this journey has not been the easiest, right? To have a word that God has given you, an instruction that God has given you, right, that you have to obey, that He did not give to anybody else, He gave to you and you alone, and you have to literally go against all odds, right, in obedience to him to watch him bring this word to pass, right? And this experience it really increased my faith, okay? It humbled me. It showed me areas of pride, of, all these things that God was doing, right? And it also taught me the importance of standing 10 toes down on what God has told you to do. That it don't matter what nobody got to say. It don't matter how nobody feel. It don't matter what it looks like. It don't matter what it feel like. It don't matter. I don't care if the situation looks impossible, baby. I serve the God of the impossible. Okay? I've experienced him for myself. So there's nothing that nobody could tell me about, oh, well, God can't do this and you need, no, baby. I don't know who you serve, but I serve the God of the impossible. Therefore, if my father said it, I'm his daughter. So he's going to make it happen for me. Not because I'm so good, but because he keeps his promises. I tell y'all that all the time. I'm going to tell y'all that all year long, right? Because he does. He always keeps his promises. He's not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent. Okay? If he said it, he's going to do it. And all we have to do is partner with him in our obedience and in our faith and belief and trust in him. That's it. Like, he does all these things just so we can believe. Like, that's his job, right? And so, yeah, that if I could give any encouragement, baby, stay 10 toes down. We be wanting to stay 10 toes down for people who could easily fail us. We be wanting to stay 10 toes down at a job that could literally fire us the very next moment. We be staying 10 toes down for so many other things. But when are we going to stay 10 toes down for the one who makes the winds and waves obey? When are we going to stay 10 toes down for the one who created heaven and earth? When are we going to be 10 toes down for the one who puts breath in our lungs, right? Like, when are we going to put some weight on him to be like, you know what? God, you got it. You told me this. I trust you. I believe you. I'm going to stay 10 toes down. I'm not moving. I'm not bowing. I'm not cowering. I'm not running, right? No. Stay 10 toes down and watch what he does. You're not staying 10 toes down just to get something out of him. No. Because if you're doing that, you're not going to stay 10 toes down. You're going to run as soon as you don't get what you want when you want it. But if you in it because you I've seen God move too much in my life for me to go anywhere else, where else am I going to go? I get what the disciples were saying now. They was like, where else we going to go, Jesus? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where you going to go? Who better for you than a kid? You know what I'm saying? Like, no. So stay 10 toes down. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care who running their mouth. I don't care who lacking faith somewhere. I don't care. Stay 10 toes down on what God has said and who he is and his character, and allow him to work in you and watch him move in your life. That's it. Okay? So yeah, that's, y'all, this, whatever this is in my eye, Lord, please remove it. So yeah, y'all, that's it. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll probably share some more updates here and there. I have some new stuff coming out, new videos and all that good stuff. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment. If this video resonated with you in any way, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Okay, we're almost at 200 subscribers, so shout out to y'all. I give God all the glory for how he is just transforming this platform, and just what he wants to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, my declaration for this year is I only want to be where the Lord needs me to be. I only want to say what he needs me to say. I only want to do what he needs me to do. I only want to go where he wants me to go, and I only want to be who he needs me to be. Okay, that's it. That's my motto from here on to forever. All right, so I will check in with y'all later. Peace.